What is up, YouTube? In this video we are going to discuss the last game of the Sunday slate for the Draftkings Call of Duty contest that we're going to be having. Last contest of the weekend for stage 3, and this is going to be a banger of a game. This is the El Classico of the esports world. Optic Chicago against the Dallas Empire, both facing off from the area of Dallas, Texas, or more specifically Frisco, Texas. So we're going to have the El Classico. It's going to be taking place in Dallas, you know, the home turf for the most part of both of these teams. It's going to be a banger. Dallas is 9-4 in the season right now. Optic Chicago is 8-5 in the season right now. Both of these teams are coming off of 3-0 wins in their previous games. Optic Chicago got 3-0'd in two of their games previous to the one where they 3-0'd the Seattle Surge. They got 3-0'd nasty. They got 3-0'd by the Florida Mutineers, and they got 3-0'd by the Minnesota Rockers. So yeah, they were looking pretty bad there for a second. They came back, they clapped back Paris Legion. They 3-0'd them, and you know, I really do think that the Optic Chicago and the Dallas Empire, you know, they're two of the best teams in the world, right, in Call of Duty. Now, this is going to be the one match that I'm really looking forward to watching. Is the last one. I believe is the marquee match, you know, the special one that they highlight or whatever in the Call of Duty League. But this is going to be a tough one to pick, you know, valuable players here. I do feel like I'm kind of biased towards Dallas because Optic Chicago has been getting blasted. But like I said in the CDL in my previous videos, like I've said in the CDL, anything can happen. Everything that can happen has been happening. Teams that aren't supposed to win are winning against other teams that they have no business beating. Example, LAG against the Atlanta FaZe. So I'm inclined to think that this is going to go 3-2 in favor of Dallas. I would not be surprised if Optic wins this game. I would not be surprised one bit because Optic Chicago, I do believe they are a very solid team. And the two games that we saw from them that they got 3-0'd in, I do believe were just, you know, I don't know, something was going on with them for those two games. I believe they weren't playing like themselves. They were distracted or something, because that was just not like Optic. Specifically with that team, because they're very nasty. They're actually pretty nasty. This roster is pretty nasty. So, would not be surprised if they beat Dallas 3-2. I would be surprised if they beat them 3-1. I don't think they're going to be that dominant over them unless they just manage to take one close game. On the Dallas Empire side, I really like what I saw from Shotzi the previous game that he played. He was going absolutely nasty. So at 8,600, I feel like Shotzi is a prime player that you want to look at. You want to have him either in your cap spot or in your flex spot. It doesn't matter. You just need some Shotzi in your lineups, and that's going to be the first player that I'm going to be looking at, you know, in this matchup. Now, with that being said, he posted 139 fantasy points in that game, and that was his highest in that 3-0 against Florida Mutineers. He was going off. He had 65 kills and 48 deaths. The whole team did, you know, great. Granted, with the 3-0, they got the extra 40 fantasy point bonus. Illy is another player that I've been looking at that is, you know, he stays cheap, 7,400 for the flex position. He got 116 fantasy point game. Illy and Shotzi are the two best value plays here in this position. Now, I feel like Huke is a beast. Like, you can never go wrong with Huke. But I do feel like he's a little bit too expensive right now. And Shotzi and Ellie and Crimsix are all going to get, you know, a decent amount of points, especially if this goes to a game 5. You know, they're going to get a decent amount of points. So I'm just more inclined to, you know, target Illy or Shotzi in this position. More inclined to do so, but I'm still going to have exposure to Huke because, I mean, it's Huke. Like, he's going to be a beast regardless of what team they're playing against. So, in order of favorite from the Dallas Empire, because I like all of them, including Crimsix, I would say Illy number one, just because he's very cheap, 7,400, and he always returns his value. You know, he's been going off the past 3 games. I would say Illy. Shotzi is my number two. Hugh is my number three, just because he's very expensive. Just on that, you know. And I also want to target phase players, so you got to keep that in mind. If you want to target other players in the slate, you got to save money somewhere. So you know, if Shotzi and Illy are gonna both get 100 fantasy points, maybe, you know, or high 90s, and if Hugh gets 90 as well, you know, that's going to be money you could have saved in somebody else. You could have bought somebody else for cheaper and got the same price. So, you know, Hugh, I don't see absolutely going off against Optic Chicago, but it definitely can happen. So, Illy, Shotzi, and Hugh are the 3 mains that I'm going to be targeting here. Crimsix is going to be the fourth, you know, for me. Even though Crimsix has been doing very, very good recently in this game, like he just seems to be super consistent. Crimsix is actually very he's surprisingly been very, very, very consistent. However, he was the only player I believe that got 90 fantasy points in the previous game. You know, the 3-0 against Florida. He got 47 kills and 55 deaths. So, you know, that's where I don't like that he went negative and that he's at the 8,200 price. You know, I feel like at that price I could get somebody else. But he is fairly consistent. He is fairly consistent. So if his price were to drop down at $7,000, you know, he'd be a key player you'd want to have. But yeah, Illy Shotzi Hugh, my favorite plays on the Dallas Empire. I would say that the value play here would be Illy because he's always delivering, whether you put him in the cap or in the flex position. Illy is your value play here on the Dallas side. As far as the Optic Chicago go, only one team is going to win, so both teams can't go off, you know. Dashi was looking very bad for the 2 games where they got swept. Dashi was looking very bad. He wasn't performing, and you know, I don't think it was a coincidence that they got 3-0'd in the games that Dashi was going absolutely, you know, terrible. He was horrible. Dashi's one of the, you know, if he's not the top 3 AR, he's the best, you know. AR in the game, basically. He's one of the best players. I think he has like the best KD right now, or the top 3 KD. The dude is a beast at 9,600. I really do like him. He bounced back hard in the 3-0 win. He bounced back hard. You know, I believe he was having issues with the guns, or, you know, the team was just having issues overall with communications. But he bounced back 127 fantasy points, 57 kills, and 43 deaths for him. Scump is another player that sometimes I look at Scump and I think of what he's accomplished throughout his Call of Duty career, and I do have confidence in him, but he has not been consistent at all. Even in the games where they win, Scump is not consistent. So I'm honestly not going to be targeting Scump anytime in the future unless he starts going off, because he's just too unpredictable. And at 7,000, I just feel like there are other players that I would rather choose than him. He really never benefits too much off of wins on the Optic Chicago side, because he, you know, he doesn't really get a lot of kills. Envoy is one player that I do like at 9,000 fantasy points. However, I feel like Envoy at the cap spot, a little bit too expensive. I think I could get away with putting other players like Illy in there and getting a very good amount of fantasy points, and not having to pay up for like $13,500 for a player like Envoy, who's very hit or miss. Yeah, if you would have him in your captain spot, you'd get a lot of points in the previous 2 games. But other than that, in losses, he doesn't seem to get too many fantasy points. You know, I could probably save money, put somebody else in there, and get the same amount of fantasy points, if not a little bit more. So I'm only looking at Envoy at the flex position. I do like him there. I just don't think that the Dallas Empire are going to lose this game. Personally, I believe that they're going to win, so I don't think Envoy is going to see his ceiling. I will call this to be a 3-1 victory on the Dallas part. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a 3-2, or if Optic Chicago wins a 3-2, but I am calling it 3-1 on the behalf of Empire. If I had to pick a couple of players from here. I wouldn't even pick Formal, even though Formal has been very, very consistent as of late. Um, Formal definitely not in the captain spot, but I would be more comfortable having him in the flex position at 8,000 because at that price tag he has delivered. When he was last $8,000, he delivered 98 fantasy points. So that's decent, that's good, and he was going off earlier in the season. So actually, I do believe that the value play here on the Dallas side, or not the Dallas side, the Optic side would be Formal. Not at the captain position, but just at the flex position at 8,000. I do think he's a solid play. So if I had to pick two players from this matchup, I would definitely pick Illy and Formal, or just Illy and Hugh, because like I said, I do think it's going to be a 3-1 on the Dallas Empire side. So I do think that Illy and Hugh are going to be the the ones who are going to be in the position to benefit the most. Illy Hugh or just Illy and Shati. Yeah, either variation of that I really like, or just Alien Formal or Alien Dash. Any variation of those I think is going to be very, very good. That's what I think of this El Clasico. Those are my thoughts on the picks. This is going to be a very, very good game to watch. If you don't watch any other games, I highly suggest you watch this one because this one's definitely going to be a banger. Could go either way. It's going to be pretty good Call of Duty. Yeah, that's what I believe is going to happen. 3-1, Dallas Empire wins. My Dallas Empire, closes off the stage with a win, or the week 3, should I say, with a win. Yeah, if you like the content, leave a like, leave a dislike if you don't. If you think you can give me some suggestions on how to make the channel better for the overall, viewer experience, leave your comment. I am willing to take, I'm willing to take any kind of, advice or, suggestions on how I should, provide content for this channel. I want this channel to grow and be like a good place for people to come and get ideas on how they, how to build their lineups, or just Call of Duty betting in general, and even just Call of Duty predictions. You don't even have to bet to watch my channel. You can just, stick around and, just talk about the games themselves. So yeah. If you like, you know what to do. Stick around, subscribe if you want. And with that being said, thank you for watching.